I actually met JFK Jr. once in New York City. And no, it wasn't a love story. It was more like a death story. Let me explain. I met him in the offices of his political magazine, George, that he had founded a few years back. I was living in Russia at the time and I'd already written for the New York Times and Newsweek, so had a reputation. And he was excited to meet me. I'd been asked to contact him by an influential mutual friend, and we discussed a few ideas. But right away, he wanted me to go back to Moscow and infiltrate the Chechen mafia that were accused of having gunned down an American businessman, Paul Tatum, who ran the Radisson Hotel there just a few months prior. And I refused him point blank. I remember that. I said that I'm a journalist, but I have no interest in putting my life at risk and infiltrating a mafia. That's not the kind of investigative journalism that I do. And I remember that he was in biking shorts and he kind of stared back at me. And then he pointed his head and he said, I bike all around New York City and I never wear a helmet. You have to take risks sometime if you want to live your life. You can't be scared. And I said, sure, risks are good, but I'm not going to meet the mafia, even though he offered me $10,000. And I remembered that when later I heard, like a year later, that he had died in a plane crash. It didn't surprise me because I knew he was a gambler. He was a risk taker. And I felt vindicated instead that I had made the right decision, especially when months later, another American journalist, Paul Klebnikov, who was researching the mafia, was shot in broad daylight in Moscow too. So that's my JFK story. Thank you.